Imagine a small New Hampshire town in 1990. A young, beautiful media coordinator, a high school intern, and a murder that would shock the entire nation.
God, forgive me.
This is the chilling story of Pamela Smart, the woman accused of orchestrating her husband's brutal killing through an affair with a teenager. Was she truly the mastermind, or just caught in a deadly web of manipulation? Stick with me, because this story twists and turns like a movie script, only this time it was real. If you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, it's 100% free and helps us tremendously making deep dive videos like this one. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. And now back to the video. Pamela Smart seemed to have it all. At just 22 years old, she was newly married to Greg Smart, working as a media services coordinator at a local high school and living what looked like the perfect suburban dream. But behind closed doors, the marriage was shaky. Greg was drifting, the relationship strained. And then Billy Flynn entered the picture. Billy wasn't a colleague. He wasn't even close to Pamela's age. He was just 15 years old, a high school sophomore. But soon their paths would collide in a way that would end in tragedy. Billy Flynn was just 15. Long hair, a love for heavy metal, and a quiet shyness that made him stand out in a small New Hampshire town. Like many boys, he had a crush on Pamela Smart, the glamorous, blonde, 22-year-old media coordinator who seemed larger than life. At first, it was all harmless. Pamela supervised media projects, and Billy, along with his friends Pete Randall, J.R. Latimer, and Raymond Fowler, often volunteered to help. Together, they worked on what became known as the Photo Project, but then everything changed. Pamela asked Billy to develop a roll of film. Expecting ordinary slides, Billy was shocked when, under the dim red light of the dark room, images of Pamela appeared. Provocative, erotic, shots that no student should ever have seen. For Billy, you can imagine, this was electrifying. His teenage crush suddenly felt real. Pamela wasn't just smiling at him in the hallway, she was inviting him into a forbidden secret. From there, the relationship spiraled into a full-blown sexual affair. Pamela told him she loved him, that Greg was abusive, that their marriage was miserable. And then, Pamela dropped the bomb. If they wanted a life together, Greg Smart had to be out of the picture. Permanently. At first, Billy hesitated. Murder? The idea terrified him, but Pamela kept pushing. She told him it was the only way. If he truly loved her, he'd have to prove it. Eventually, blinded by infatuation and desperate to keep her love, Billy gave in, but he knew he couldn't do it alone. That's when he turned to his friends, Pete, JR, and Raymond. To outsiders, it sounded absurd. 4 teenagers plotting to kill a grown man for the sake of an affair. But caught in the thrill, in the secrecy, and in the strange hold Pamela had over Billy, the boys agreed. What started as a harmless photo project had become something unthinkable, a murder conspiracy. Billy Flynn, 15 years old, was preparing to kill Pamela Smart's husband with his friends by his side. On May 1st, 1990, the plan became reality. Billy Flynn and Pete Randall waited inside the Smarts' condo, while J.R. Latimer and Raymond Fowler kept looking outside. Greg Smart came home from work, completely unaware. As he walked through the door, Billy raised a gun and pulled the trigger. Greg Smart, just 24 years old, was shot in the head and killed instantly. The teenage hit squad fled, leaving behind a crime that would horrify an entire nation. At first, Pamela Smart played the grieving widow perfectly. Tearful interviews, emotional statements. To police, Greg's murder looked like a robbery gone wrong. Investigators didn't immediately suspect Pamela, but soon things started to feel off. Pamela's behavior wasn't typical of a devastated wife. Instead of being shattered, she seemed rehearsed, almost calculating, and whispers around town hinted at something darker. The real breakthrough came when one of the teenagers, under pressure, began to talk. Billy Flynn admitted that Pamela had seduced him and pressured him to kill her husband. Suddenly, the impossible story that a 15-year-old had shot Greg Smart became horrifyingly real. To lock it down, investigators turned to Cecilia Pierce, a student and close friend of Pamela's. Police wired her with a hidden microphone. Over hours of taped conversations, Pamela never explicitly said "kill Greg," but her words showed she knew far more than she claimed. To prosecutors, those tapes were gold, the evidence that tied her directly to the plot. The trial of Pamela Smart was a media frenzy. It became the first fully televised trial in US history, with millions glued to their TVs. Prosecutors argued Pamela was a manipulative seductress who used a teenager to kill her husband. The defense claimed Billy acted on his own, but the jury wasn't convinced. In 1991, Pamela Smart was convicted of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and witness tampering. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Billy Flynn and his accomplices received reduced sentences in exchange for testifying against her. Billy himself admitted,
"I pulled the trigger."
Prosecutors argued Pamela had multiple motives. First, she wanted to stay with Billy Flynn, her teenage lover. She wanted out of her troubled marriage, and yes, she stood to gain financially from Greg's life insurance policy, which made her murder look even more premeditated. To this day, Pamela Smart maintains her innocence. She insists she never asked Billy to kill Greg, but decades later, she remains behind bars, while Billy Flynn walked free on parole in 2015. So the question lingers, was Pamela Smart truly the cold mastermind of Greg's murder, or a reckless young woman caught in the flames of a deadly teenage obsession? One thing is certain, the Pamela Smart case forever changed how America views crime, media, and the blurred line between love and manipulation. If you want more stories where truth is stranger than fiction, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next deep dive. Stay safe.